Welcome to the Uncle Dane community universe. My name is Kaiga. My pronouns are he and him. I'm the person who's talking right now. Yay, Leah.
Thanks for that, guy. Yeah, I'm Leah Rain. I'm a moderator with Uncletopia. I think I joined, yeah, I definitely joined after both Kaiga and Sylvians, but I've been here for a couple of years too.
So yeah, I'm Sylvian. I'm just about everywhere with Uncle Dane stuff, but on Uncletopia and the actual community Discord. I've been around for a while, and a lot of people don't actually see me as DJ Sylvian on those. Like in those areas, they'll see me as either like Queen Beelzebub or Sisu or Rennie. Like I have a ton of different names, so
Yeah, you
yeah,
have a
good
lot of
luck.
names.
Yeah.
What would you say encapsulates the Uncle Dane experience in terms of the modding roles that you do?
Well,
Um,
I'm sorry, Gabe, you want to add to that?
yeah. So a lot of like the modding stuff, like with in terms of Uncle Dane, would be like people either wanting to go onto its servers because they don't really fancy random crits on the casual servers, or they really like Uncle Dane's stuff, or they just are an inspiring NG main that really wants to like get better at engineer. But we also have those people that try to form like the micro communities within Uncle Dane's servers as well.
Yeah, and like
Oh,
to that point about the communities, like the people, the people who joined the Uncletopia servers, that was the thing that we had originally. Like, to tell the story a little bit, we had the Uncle Dane community Discord, which is the main one. It's like the blue and white one compared to our more orange Uncletopia one. Both of those Discords were the same community, and there was like 30,000 people or what have you in the first one. And eventually it became where we realized that the number of people that were in the Uncle Dane like YouTuber Discord had absolutely never seen Uncle Dane before. They were just here for the servers, they were just there to play TF2. So eventually the community had gotten so big that we needed to branch it off into like its own thing. And true to today, there's a lot of people who've never actually heard of Uncle Dane, or they don't know who he is or what he does. They just play on the TF2 servers. So we kind of formed our own community with that. Like we all used to
that's
be in the
almost
same
inconceivable.
server.
How do you get around the Team Fortress 2 world without sort of bumping into or experiencing a little bit of Uncle Dane?
Well, the game is free. Like the game travels
For
through
sure.
word of mouth, I guess. It's like one of the top games on Steam that's like free to play. So people who like will not like casual, like DJ Sylvian said, they'll load up the server browser. They'll see the servers that resemble a normal-ish game of TF2, like Uncletopia, and then they'll click on that, and then they'll be like, "Who's the uncle at Uncletopia? I don't know. I just installed him, just here to frag, you know."
Yeah, the
But
name
we've
definitely sounds creepy without knowing who Uncle Dane is, to be honest.
yeah, Uncle
Yeah, it's got
first.
kind of like Five Nights at Freddy's kind of vibes to it. Like you can imagine an uncle being a guy that chases you around with a cricket bat, um,
This
desperate to
is
teach you lessons about maths. Maybe that's just diving too much into my own psyche.
that is Leah's specialty. They are a what is it, Dead by Daylight? Don't you stream Dead by Daylight? Where
Yeah,
people
sometimes.
do where people do actually chase you around with murder implements to try and kill you.
I mean, what's the demo night, really?
Exactly. Yeah, you could
Yeah.
have you could have Demo Knight as one of the killers in Dead by Daylight. Yeah.
Although this is our call to action to put Uncle Dane in Dead by Daylight.
Oh my God.
Wait, Uncle Dead by Uncle Dane.
There's mods for community servers where it's like there's Dead by Daylight like gameplay in TF2, those the Freak Fortress Death Run type things, and it's like you could. I mean, if you really wanted to, I mean, the update. What was that one that had like the source mod perms or what am I thinking of? What's it called?
Oh, the VScript stuff.
Yes, that's the one. The VScript stuff. The combination of the VScript stuff and the source SDK should allow some pretty cool recreations of stuff like Dead by Daylight, I guess.
I mean, you can play versus was it Thousand Uncles at the moment if you really want to experience the world of everybody is an Uncle Dane and you're not.
So specific. Dane's baby.
Yeah, exactly.
Dane's baby.
The Thousand Uncles thing has been like a big focus of Dane's recently, and it's even gotten updates since the video he released about the Thousand Uncles to to now where it's not just like King of the Hill. Actually, it wasn't King of the Hill before, but it's like attack, defend, payload. But now it's CTF, and we even recently got TC Hydro working. It only gets crazier and crazier the more they work on it.
I'm not sure the tracking is completed yet. There seems to be a lot of effort towards just trapping the Thousand Uncles into their spawn area while we get on with doing the rest of the map.
That's actually been a strat for a while, especially when the Halloween maps were in the Thousand Uncle rotation. I think those recently got taken now, but the whole idea was just trap the uncles in the spawn, go cap the points, and sometimes it worked, and other times it didn't. It really depended on the group of people you had. If everyone was coordinating, you could essentially block all the uncles or just have one person sit at the point in case someone goes and caps it. But we're trying, well, I'd say we, but it's more other people are working on this, and we're just providing our feedback. But it's essentially trying to make it so that's less of an option, and it's more trying to actually get the uncles to be a legitimate threat.
Yeah, like
And
shout
you
out Moonly Days, and all the people that are working on it, like Roto and whatnot. Roto's our tech guy, and yeah, no, we have this 1K Uncles thing has been like a surprise hit. Like people actually do like it. There's feedback on it. Dane made a video about it, and it's interesting to see the different metas that develop. Because like when we first had this implemented, it's like, oh well, I mean, obviously everyone picks demo, they fire their pipes down to choke, and stuff blows up. But it's actually not that simple. There's been people who've attempted speed runs of this. There are like timings for. I'm not even kidding. There's timed runs. People have set speed run records for this, particularly on Dust Bowl. There's like a meta. There it involves like DJ Sylvian said that you lock the NGs in the spawn with support weapons. But it's a thing. There's people that are dedicated to speedrunning this, and I didn't think that would happen at first. But life finds a way.
Yeah,
I'm absolutely blown away by that.
It's like a legit. Right now, I think it's a Google Docs that just keeps track of all the times, and the only way it gets updated is people telling you that, hey, we got such and such time. Here's a proof, kind of deal. But I guess that kind of just came out of the fact that in A Thousand Uncles, the timer doesn't count down; it counts up. So, hey, there's your speedrun timer.
Ah. I was going to say, surely there must be some sort of authoritative way of ensuring that those times are legitimate.
It's definitely, I think Roto has talked before about having that as part of the website or something at some point, that people can see the times to be like the fastest times to beat each map on 1K Uncles.
From a personal perspective, I'd hate that. I love playing on 1,000 Uncles from the perspective of it's just brain dead fun. It's the perfect PvE type experience where it doesn't matter how good you are. There is nothing that you could do that will mess up your team. You just get to play and have fun and destroy Uncle Danes and feel good about that achievement at the end of the day.
Oh, 100%. I personally joined those servers to warm up, like my pipe aim and stuff like that, to practice the FAM angles, to you do all that stuff. It's great because, like you said, it's a low pressure environment where you can pretty much do whatever you want, protect all classes. The other day I was actually playing on the 1K Uncle server, and we witnessed. Let me back up a little bit. TC Hydro is special because you have to.
Definitely
You have to play it. Yeah, you have to play it in a certain way. We've added a couple of things to the servers to prevent, say, spy capping, right? The center dish on Hydro cannot be capped by spy. He has a times 0% spy cap thing, and that's to stop the map from just being cheats. Like, obviously, at the beginning, that was the meta, was to say, oh, well, you got a map like Dust Bowl. All you have to do is break out of spawn, send your Cloak and Dagger spies all the way back to last, and then Uber into the first point, and then as soon as that's capped, you decloak 5 spies at the point, and then the game's over. Well, you want to add a little bit more challenge to that. And particularly too in like CTF, the uncles get reset, like they get Uber or crits and whatnot every time you camp the point. So it's like you can't just sit there on the intel.
Yeah.
You have to it repositions things to keep the experience fresh. And I at first people are like, oh, that's not how TF2 is played. Well, you're fighting 1,000 uncles. You got to keep it interesting. You know?
There's nothing about Team Fortress 2 about how this version of Team Fortress. How much of that, in terms of like the describing the meta or fighting against the whatever the meta that the community wants to generate this time, how much of that is generated by people playing or enjoying the servers or reporting back on Discord, and how much of it is data driven? How much of it is like looking at what the server output says and seeing how you can change the game to make it better?
I would say that in terms of like changes provided by people playing the game versus like data. It's almost entirely people playing the game, whether it be like any of us on staff, Dane himself, or just anyone that happens to run into 1,000 Uncles and then pop in the Discord and give their feedback. Usually, a lot of the changes happens that way. Like I'm honestly kind of struggling to think of like very specific changes. I know we'd actually have like a channel just for everyone working on servers to discuss various changes with Dane and also us. And I know personally one more recent feedback I gave was something I saw on the server itself that actually made the game a little bit better for 1,000 Uncles, and it was specifically for CTF when they put in the changes for that to work on the 1,000 Uncles. One thing that happened would be whenever you pick up the intel, the Uncles immediately get crits. And then once you cap the intel, they get Uber. Well, what happened was someone immediately capped the intel, and then another person, like not even a second later, picked up the intel, and so the Uber was like essentially canceled. So all they have to do is drop it, and Uncles are back to normal. And so I brought that to the team, and they're like, "Oh yeah, that needs a change." And so now there's a bit of a delay between the intel being capped and being able to be picked up again.
Yeah.
And so that avoids the whole situation of cheesing essentially CTF by just picking up the intel again and not allowing the Uncles to reset.
It's kind of interesting. I mean, this is a theme that I'm going to be coming back to here and there. But and you've mentioned sort of the Uncle servers and Uncle Dane voicing an opinion on it, and certainly this being his baby for the time being. How much of what you do or what gets done, whether it's a mod perspective or a build perspective, how much of what gets done has to go through Dane first?
In terms of like reports and stuff, I mean, we kind of have a way of dealing with those things in a kind of an established way. So nothing in terms of like moderating reports generally gets brought up unless there's something like very sensitive or something like that. Dane is like very approachable. It's and pretty grounded. It's easy to have conversations with him about things. So you can bring things to him at any time, really. Like we have a mod discussion area, of course, and yeah, he's not like a mean, angry boss person. He's very easy to speak to about things. So you can bring anything you want to him, really.
Yeah. Like, to answer that with a specific answer, not a whole lot. We do ping him, like the times where we ping Uncle Dane are like when we encounter a new situation where it was like we would like to set like a benchmark or like set a rule for things that we've, never encountered before. But 9 times out of 10, Dane is like, yeah, no, we're up to your judgment. You're up to the judgment of the people around you. And yeah, well, the 10th time would be him saying, nah, we don't want to do this because, like when I suggested to ban Sniper for April Fool's Day, and then we're like, okay, that might be a little too popular. People would start requesting anti-Sniper servers.
Well, the thing is, people still request those servers.
Yeah, I know.
Anti-spy,
that was a mistake. There was a suggestion that's like the class limits are one of the big things that people don't like, I guess, in terms of like negative feedback. But it's like the suggestion I keep seeing is like, okay, we redo the class limits, but the only 2 class limits are on Sniper and Spy. And maybe Engineer on defense or whatever, but I'm like, that kind of would defeat the purpose, though, unfortunately.
Whatever rules that have been put in place there's always somebody or a group of people invariably, who take it upon themselves to try and find different ways of breaking the game without breaking the rules, or breaking the rules without breaking the game.
Oh, yeah. 1K Uncles is bringing things back to 1K Uncles is a great example for this, because like Dane himself actually is pretty involved with that. Like he'll spectate like speedruns or people that are like serious about doing this. Like he'll just hang around watching people doing this to see how it's going, and he'll join the other team. Like he actually plays on the the 1K Uncle servers. He'll like join because he has the power. He can join like the red bots, and then one of the uncles will be him. You'll never know, right?
Can he play in any other class? I found myself playing 1,000 Uncles the other day, and and I realized that we had like left our teleporters or sentry guns, whatever it was, in a really vulnerable place. And I thought, for a moment there, I was gripped with the panic that you normally have when you're playing TF2, that maybe a spy is going to come around and sap something. But then it sort of the wave passed over me. I thought, no, these are bots, and they all play as Uncle Dane. They all play as engineer. I don't have to worry about that anymore. Can Dane join and play as spy?
Yep, he could play
I'm sure
any
it's
class.
yeah, I'm sure it's possible, but I don't think he ever has. Like, it's funny because like there have been a couple of times where we've been playing like Wonky Uncles, and then I see an engineer do like a Sigafu save or something. I'm like, wait a minute, that's not right. But no,
they don't know how to do that.
yeah, the mode has been going pretty well. It's actually a lot of fun. We were talking earlier about like the interactions we have with Uncle Dane and whatnot. No, he's great to work with. Like, the dude plays on the Uncle Tobia servers too. I mean, obviously he's always on aliases, but it's nice to see him there.
Do you ever feel? I kind of didn't want to have this conversation about Uncle Dane, but I mean, obviously you all here and you all kind of in some way or other represent him. So I assume that you've all got him on Steam as a friend, and you can always see when he's playing TF2.
Actually, believe it or not, I do not.
You do not. That is
I do
interesting.
not have Dane as a friend on Steam. He was a while ago, but it was like just for a video that he needed some help recording, and that was it.
I actually got Dane on my friends because we were playing UGC Highlander at the same time, and we were in the same division, Silver, and I needed someone to ring Engie after we scrimmed him, so I've had him on friends for Highlander rather than moderating game later.
That's funny. Yeah, no, I have him on my friends, and I occasionally play with him. But yeah, no, it's like a lot of the time he's recording stuff in casual, or he's like going off and doing stuff. But no, the dude is a big fan of Helldivers. I remember that like a couple of his other videos that he makes, like it's the Helldivers drop and stuff. But no, he likes a bunch of other games other than TF2. But it's interesting to see, because like I was talking to him about Helldivers and we were playing one night. He's like, the comparisons between the mobility in games like Helldivers and TF2 is just, it's not even close. That's why I think a lot of people come back to TF2 is like they play other games, like not just Helldivers, but other like shooters or games where you have to like kill things while moving around. And then they think back to the source engine and they're like, damn, there's no ramp sliding, there's no rocket jumping. It's like the movement just isn't the same,
You pick up another game because you want to try something new, or your friends are playing something new, and that feeling of, why isn't my character moving the way that I know that characters can move in video games?
Oh, 100%.
Like, it feels so stunted.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Not to mention that game, but like in Overwatch, when I started playing that one,
It's been a while. You can mention it now.
yeah, and I picked up Pharah. I wanted to rocket jump like how I would in TF2 with Pharah, and it didn't work at all. I'm like, why is this not working? And then I realized, they just made rocket jumping a jetpack now. Honestly, it made me disappointed in Pharah to the point I never played her again.
It's funny that Overwatch used to be a banned word on this server. If you typed it in, I think it would just get deleted. I'm pretty sure it still is, actually. It's a fun thing. I'm not sure whether it gets deleted or you get deleted. One or the other way around. It's one of those difficult things to try. Leah, if I go back to you for a moment, you mentioned sort of like the recruitment process for how you ended up being a moderator for Uncle Dane. Is your experience unique, or do you find that's the common pathway to becoming an administrator on Uncle Dane?
Yeah, I mean, since I joined, what seems to happen is whenever, maybe if there's moderators leave or they add new servers and they need more moderators, Dane will generally ask, do any of us have any idea? Because obviously a lot of us moderators are playing in the community regularly. So usually it'll be based around kind of recommendations and maybe one of us or Dane having a chat with someone to see if they're interested and if they have any experience with moderating. But a lot of the times it will be based on the location that we need moderators. So for example, we needed an Aussie moderator a while back. Yep. And so it's people who would be kind of familiar in the community, maybe that play a lot, that maybe have a good track record in terms of bans, or they report people, things like that.
Invite only?
Yes. Yeah, there's no application process.
Huh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I remember I'm like, when we first started this, I've been with this since the beginning. I have been a moderator for a couple of other TF2 community projects. We didn't do the introduce ourselves thing that much, did we? But no, I've been around for 14 some odd years now. I was part of Ready Steady Pan. I was one of the project leads for that. I also contributed to Sigiller's TFCL project. I've done a couple of things, so I've sort of known the community. I started out as a moderator for Sir Stanger, the YouTuber, right? Like I helped run his community. And I've just met people since then, so I eventually found my way over to where Dane guys are. And when we needed moderators, we asked around a couple of circles that were like, people we knew. And one of the names that come up is like, hey, I know this Leah Rain person. They're pretty cool.
And he was right.
Yes.
Wow. I'm so modest as well.
See, this is Aggro. This is the time where you need the soundboard, so you can go like, new, new, new.
Your version of it is just as good, Kaiga.
There we go, yeah.
10 out of 10.
I'll poke you, Kaiga, every time we need a sound effect. TJ, is it the same for you?
Actually, mine is a little bit different, and by a little bit different, and I can actually just like reenact how it happened. So, Uncle Dane puts out a message like, "Hey,
with sound effects."
Yeah, I'll even do the sound effects. Like, "Hey, I need mods. Anyone want to be a mod?" I'm like, "Me." Okay, you're a mod now. But then,
Oh, what?
and this was like way back when the Uncle Dane community Discord itself like got started up. There was only I think 5 channels at the time, and so he just like looking for people to mod. And not only did I end up getting mod for that, I also got mod for the Twitch whenever he was doing streams during that time. And honestly, the Discord is a little bit more work than the Twitch. The Twitch, like people tend to behave on the Twitch more than they do Discord, and it may just be because Twitch is only there when Dane is streaming, but the Discord is there pretty much forever. But when it came to Uncle Topia's stuff, Dane, kind of similar to like how Kaiga and Leah mentioned, he asked us like, "Hey, you guys want to like mod for this TF2 server I'm starting up?" And I initially said no because I felt like I had almost too much to do at the time. But then he asked again a second time, and even asked if we knew anyone. And that time I'm like, you know what? Sure, I'll do it. And that's how things are today.
Do you feel that you've lucked into this, or was it a terrible mistake and you want out? Or
I wouldn't say it's a terrible mistake at all.
Choose your next words carefully, DJ.
You could always leave. Yeah.
No, it definitely isn't a terrible mistake at all. In to say we lucked in, I mean, probably for me more so it was a case of being lucked in. But I would say working as like a mod, I use working very loosely. It's more volunteering as a mod. It's been honestly quite enjoyable, and the community has been pretty good. And yeah, sure, we kind of like poke fun at each other, like haha, you're a mod, all the usual Discord stereotype stuff, but it's really just playful.
The joke about being a Discord moderator, a bunch of neckbeards in a basement.
Also, the rumor that the Furry RP channel exists only to mods, I hate to break it to you, but that doesn't exist.
Didn't someone name a channel like the moderators?
Someone made a thread in general.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, somebody made a thread about that. Yeah.
Oh, that was me.
Sylvian.
Of course it was.
That was me like a while back, and it's only because we had like a ton of furries join the channel at one point, and like, you know what? Sure, let's just make a spot for everyone.
How accepting is the server then? How active is the server is another point I really wanted to drill down to. Now that you've got 2 servers and one, like the vast majority of people you were saying that were interacting on the Uncletopia, has creating a second Discord server killed the momentum of the first one, or of the original?
I would say not at all. There are, let's take a look at the numbers actually, because we have those numbers. There's about 30,000 people in the Uncle Dane community Discord, like the main YouTuber Discord, and there's about 13,000 in the Uncletopia one. And if all 13,000 of those people were in the main YouTuber Discord, there would be pandemonium, because a lot of the people there talk about things that happen purely on the servers, people they meet, misconnections, stuff like that. People ask about bans and mutes and stuff like that. And the Uncletopia YouTuber Discord mods weren't really able to help them because they weren't really involved in the server. So when we were running our appeals and stuff through the Discord and the ticket system before we had the website, we wanted to like have that all centralized in one Discord. And like I said, for the people who just never heard of Uncle Dane,
Like, there's actually people that will go into the Uncletopia Discord thinking it's the Uncle Dane Discord. Then we tell them, no, that's a completely separate Discord. It's like, wait, really? Can I have the invite? And we're just like, yeah, sure. Here you go.
Or they come into the Uncletopia Discord to ask to be unbanned from the Uncle Dane Discord.
Does that ever work?
No, not really.
And now I really want to get into the weeds about like what you use as a back-end system. Do you track people? Do you have global bans? Do you ban IP addresses? Like, do any of you here like know the answer to this stuff, or is it?
We do.
I mean,
yeah.
we know the answers to some of those things, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm really glad, like I was saying earlier, I'm really glad that DJ Sylvian is here because me and Leah are not staff members who work in the Uncle Dane YouTuber Discord.
Right.
I don't have the patience for that. But me and Leah work in the with the TF2 servers and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that DJ Sylvian is here to answer questions about that and the Twitch, which I don't really know anything about at all.
So the Twitch, yeah, I'll actually just go ahead and get started on that. So Twitch is very simple. Dane doesn't stream anymore, so I don't have to worry about that anymore.
Easy life. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, he even mentions it like whenever he's in someone else's videos or it just gets brought up in conversation. He doesn't really stream anymore. I don't remember the exact reason why, but if he does decide to stream, like, hey, I'll be there. But as for like the Uncletopia Discord, we actually have a bot called UncleBot, and that was made by Frozen. And pretty much it works like a lot of the other UncleBots where we just have commands we could type in. Like, we need to warn this person. Okay, warn this person. Here's message. Boom.
Yep.
UncleBot will just send them a message. It'll do kicks, bans, whatever we need to. And it, like I said, it works just like any other UncleBot. Or not UncleBot, any other Discord bot.
Yeah.
The server bans and that go through the website. So Roto made Uncletopia.com, and there we have kind of chat logs, the reports, ban appeals, some other secret mod things.
I was going to say, do you have like a secret backend username password thing that allows you into like the cool things of that website?
Yeah, so you sign into it through your Steam actually. So Roto just has us set up that we have kind of mod access on the website.
Yeah, everything's a Steam login SSL, but yeah. We can modify the servers, we can do all the fun stuff, issue bans and read appeals. That's where you go to appeal if you get banned, is like on the Uncletopia website. Raspy, one of our other contributors, had to write a message in the Discord that we are no longer doing it through the Discord, so just like go to the website, because we used to have like an appeals channel, like a ticket system and a bot and whatnot, but that was slowly getting overwhelmed with the amount of data. Same thing with some of our other backend stuff. We ended up moving it to the website because we were just consuming so much data.
Speaking of servers being overwhelmed, do you ever find yourselves overwhelmed?
So me personally, it's a decent amount of balance. Like, I don't find myself being overwhelmed by it at all. We have like a number of moderators in different regions that do stuff, and the technical stuff is helped by Roto and his gremlins that do the backend stuff. But no, I don't find that it takes up a huge amount of my time. You can it's like being a moderator in general. You check in, you check the logs, you do your reports and appeals and whatnot on a regular basis. It's something you can block out time for, you know? We do occasionally get attacked, like we get hit by bots or DDoS or what have you, like bad actors. That can get a little overwhelming, but I mean, that's just a ping of the staff roll away from having all our hands on the deck and we're able to deal with it, you know?
And it's really not that overwhelming to deal with. You do this enough, you tend to see a lot of the similar cases. There are some unique cases that pop up, but it's never like, oh god, I have to set time away from my family, away from work or whatever to do this. No, it's just, okay, I have some time, I can sit down, I'll go through all this. Okay, great, moving along.
Leah, as someone who streams, like your part of your life anyway is sat in front of a computer, being very public with your streaming. Did you find that there's like a significant portion of your time is being utilized looking after Uncle Dane's servers, or?
No, Uncle Dane is fairly kind of streamlined in that. So I moderate for Uncletopia only at the moment, but I used to moderate for like another pub server, and I used to moderate for TF2 Center. TF2 Center was definitely the worst one to moderate for because of how comp players can be. Like, they can be pretty harassy. They can like really go after mods in their little groups and stuff, which is not very pleasant. But I haven't really found that with Uncletopia. So yeah, the process of kind of looking at chat logs, banning, and all that is pretty streamlined. So, and again, as Sylvian said, you get a lot of the same repeat behaviors coming up. If there's something that's kind of unique or a bigger deal, then we can always like bring it to the mod discussion and talk together kind of as a group on it and come to a decision then.
So outside of DDoS attacks, what's the really stupid stuff that you've seen come across your pathway that you've had to deal with?
Oh god, there's been everything from like people have figured out how to like auto-generate Steam accounts with like using, I guess, AI or whatever to like automatically make Steam accounts, assign them a new VPN, like a new IP address to try and get around stuff to where we have to start banning ASNs and whatnot. And it's like, people have done that in the past. People have definitely hit the servers with that. And it's like, usually that happens when one particular script kiddie gets banned and they want to take it out on the servers. There have been people who've started dramas, spread rumors, caused communities to fracture. It's your typical stuff that happens when you have a large group of people together and, you know, anonymity on the internet. But generally speaking, we're able to handle it. There's enough moderators between all of us, like in our staff, to where it's not like the people that are awake at the time feel overwhelmed if things do happen, you know?
Yeah, on top, I would say on top of all that, and I'm pretty sure people have wondered too, is if people have reported like any of the moderators at all, and usually the answer is yes, but it's never really anything like rule breaking. It's just they got mad about something and they decided to take it out on one of us, and maybe they knew we were mod, maybe they didn't.
Oh, what's his name? Anthony gets reported all the time. He's just that good at pyro. Like, I definitely have seen. I will say this actually. Anthony, shout out Anthony. He's one of our staff members. A really good pyro main. Fantastic human being. They get reported a lot because they're just that good at pyro, and I think I've seen that. We've seen that a couple of times with people who are just like supremely good at a class, sniper, and yeah, people just assume that they're cheating. So it's like, yeah,
Way to call Leah out.
I didn't say anything.
I mean, just generally, snipers are cheating because they play sniper. That's how. Yeah.
Is this coming from a pyro main aggro?
Yeah. I'm coming
You
from
can't
a
reach
pyro
them.
main perspective. Snipers and spies. Anyone who gets a one-shot kill is definitely cheating.
It's funny. We've definitely had, and I guess this segues over into like the anti-cheat stuff. Yeah, we do anti-cheat investigations. We have several systems in place that I'm not going to talk about to help us with that and to like identify cheaters and whatnot. But yeah, no, we do a lot of manual review when people submit demos to us, when people submit STVs, because we have STVs as well to track what's going on and whatnot.
Sure.
And yeah, we look through those. We do demo review. A lot of us are from comp. Like I know me and Leah are. Like we've spent multiple seasons in Highlander. I ran a competitive org for a couple of years, so it's like we have people like Camper and whatnot who used to be an RGL mod. Like we have experienced staff members that can do these things like from an anti-cheat, like an AC team perspective too. But a lot of the time it's just like people are very obviously cheating. It's like, okay, well that's, yeah. They're not even bothering to hide it.
Thinking about the Uncletopia servers, I've heard it being said that the sort of people who are attracted to playing on those servers are generally good players that can make it very difficult, like if you're a complete newbie, to join those servers and feel that you're being in any way competitive. Would you say that is an appropriate description of the servers, or do you feel there's plenty of opportunities for complete noobs to come along and enjoy Uncletopia?
I think it really depends on maybe the time of the day that you're playing in the region, and a lot of the like Chicago 1, LA 1, etc. I feel like a lot of the good regular players play on the ones for some reason. If you play on like maybe a Chicago 3 or 4 and it's like the middle of the day, God only knows what gameplay you'll see going on there. But
Christmas Hammy in chat has just said Leah plays Uncle Topia, so it's definitely noob friendly.
Ham is my fiance, so he's being a little jerk.
Okay.
But we met on TF2 actually, but I beat him in MG, so and
Just throwing that up.
Where's that fucking soundboard? God damn it, we need that.
Nice.
But there's definitely like, I would say there's truth to the fact that there's like maybe large groups of people who play on there. Obviously, you get like competitive people play on there maybe before or after their scrims. Like, obviously, Bonnie plays on the servers sometimes, so you definitely get the whole range. I think I have also seen like people who haven't unlocked weapons yet and that on the server, so new people do find their way there. And I think part of that is just exploring servers, but part of it is like obviously Uncle Dane has like quite a big appeal to people who are newer to the game as well, if they're like trying to learn how to play engineer or something like that.
Yeah, Uncle Dane actually made a video about this. I wanted to plug this video because it answers actually a lot of these questions. He made a video about how it's like I ran a community server for a year and like see how it went. He answers that in a segment of the video where he's like, Array 7 when Array 7 made like the casual versus competitive like video they made, he labeled the people who play on like who try to win, like actually try to play to win, as like Uncle Topians, as like its own little thing on the spectrum.
Wow.
And it's like in that video, like Dane references that in the video he made, because it's like, yeah, there's generally people who want like, you know, a more structured environment, who want to like actually try to see their effort rewarded. I will agree with Leah about when the regs are on, like when the usuals, like the people who play together as friends and whatnot, when the regulars are on, yes, it can get a bit sweaty, but that's not all the time. And when the regulars are on, like in the evenings and whatnot, it feels like the old school community servers. Like when I first started playing, I was part of a server called Fast Company and Cafe Broken Dreams and Linux Labs and all that. And those old school community servers, like back before 2017, that was the feel of old TF2. Was like a bunch of pretty skilled regulars that just hung out. Like it was like the water cooler at the end of the day, and that was you get that feel a lot in Uncle Topia when all the regulars are on, because it's like you know who they are, you know how they play, right? And if you play there for long enough, you figure out you like, okay, this person's really good at sniper, so I can like, you know, counter him this way. Like that, it is a mix of both, but yeah, there is a general higher skill ceiling, I'd say, a little bit.
Say for example, I did want to cheat on Uncle Topia. What would be the best time of day to do that?
Never.
You know what the fucking funny thing is? The people who we see cheating are on the 1K Uncle servers. we see people cheating on they go to the like the PV servers, the 1K Uncle servers, and then like they set up a million red flags, and they like we get the stuff from the 1K Uncle servers, which is insane, really, because it's like, oh, maybe they think it's, oh, they're bots, they're not going to care, right?
I genuinely would never have thought. But I suppose, again, that sort of leads into not appreciating the whole idea of having like leaderboards, because it's just it entices people towards wanting to get that kind of one-upmanship.
There's definitely, I mean, we used to have, they haven't worked in a long time, but we used to have stats again on the website, and people got really competitive with that. I think it is something that in the long run Roto wants to bring back, but some people, would get pretty competitive about the stats per server or whatever it might be on the website.
Yeah, we do have stats, like internal stats for stuff that are still being kept track of, by the way. And it's like, it's really interesting to see like the player statistics, like what kind of maps people like what kind of classes people play, like the way, I guess, class demographics shift over time. That's definitely a Roto question. He's got all the data with that.
Very interested to know like the results of that. Right? Again, it's one of those things that you imagine you'd be interested in, but in reality, you'd like look at the graph once and go, oh, interesting, and then never look at it again. Unless that was your thing, unless you really want to be like number one. If you're like number 3 for something, you think, oh, okay, what have I got to do to make myself number 1 in this particular peculiar category?
People will do that. Like if you put up a random stat for like, say, players extinguished, there will be some motherfucker out there that's like, I'm going to get number 1 on players extinguished in Uncle Topia. Fear my air blast. You know?
There was a point where I'm just looking around at the stats, and then the thing is, like, when I play heavy, I like using Fits of Steel, and I saw like almost no one was using Fits of Steel. I'm like, you know what? That's a stat I could go for number 1 on. and just ran Fist of Steel, challenging people to fist fights.
The weapon usage rates are interesting. I mean, if Valve's listening to this, we'll hand over this data if they really want to know. But
I mean, you're definitely going to get different results from servers that don't have crits enabled.
yes,
Although,
definitely.
Like thinking about it, this is Valve, and they have. I'm pretty sure they have statistics not just for casual stuff, but maybe it's for some comp maps, and that may be more representative than, say, Uncletopia would be, because there'd be way more people playing on those servers than Uncletopia, honestly.
So Aggro,
Yeah, go on.
here's an actual question for you. Have you ever played Valve Comp?
Unfortunately, I fell foul of the bug that said if you have more than 150 friends or something of that nature in that play Team Fortress 2 or just in Steam, then you don't get to join matchmaking servers. And I sat there, I think I was streaming at the time. I sat there for a good 2 hours waiting to join a match that Valve had deemed me incapable of joining. But yeah, I mean, back in the day, I have played a bunch of Team Fortress 2 official matchmaking games and have not really won enough to be recognised to have a score.
I got to the second highest rank in Valve Comp, and then it was just filled with cheaters and long queue times. Because I played it immediately when it came out too. So for a few weeks or maybe months, you could get games, but it was a 40-minute wait time. So I had a group of essentially my Highlander team.
Yeah.
And we would play, and we got to that point, and then I think we kind of got bored of it, or there was too many hackers or whatever in it then.
Yeah, that was my experience too. Is that I played a couple of games, like Agger said, not enough to substantiate a score, but you would run out of opponents. The same 6 people that would be the only other people queuing for this mode would just get bored and leave, and then you would sit in queue hell forever, or you'd run into bots. And it's nowadays we queued for fun a couple of weeks ago, and it's it genuinely took fun, in parentheses. It genuinely took 2 weeks of queuing, and I still have not found a game. Not a single game.
What?
I'm it's dead. It's deader than doorknobs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would Uncletopia ever do competitive servers?
I don't think it's likely.
No.
I think Dane seems a lot more focused on kind of, casual TF2.
Yeah, whatever's fun. Yeah.
We have floated the idea of opening other types of servers. We actually opened recently a 24/7 Badwater server. We noticed that there was another community that ran a 24/7 Badwater server that didn't do that anymore. So we opened one in Dallas. We didn't really promote it very well or announce this, but some people that play it. We floated the idea of having an MGE server, that allows all of the classes. I mean, not just engineer, but all of the classes, because the other classes can also benefit from 1v1s, But people, the Sixes community is kind of adverse to that, because it's why would you Pyro 1v1? That's the dumbest thing in the game. Well, no. If you go in there just holding down the M2 button, you're not going to have a great time. But I think everyone can benefit from learning how the other classes play,
So I gone off on a slight tangent. I think we all went off on a slight tangent. That's always appreciated.
Hey man, you said tangents were encouraged, so.
Yeah, I said that quietly. I think anyone would take me seriously on that one.
What other questions were we supposed to be going through here?
Okay. Skipping a few from the top. Oh yeah, do you guys get paid?
We get paid in warm, fuzzy feelings.
Wait, you guys don't get paid? I've been getting paid for years.
I knew someone was gonna fucking make that joke.
But the thing is that, now, if Leah actually is getting paid, then, anyway.
No, I'm not getting paid.
No, it's 100% voluntary.
Apart from the warm fuzzies, does Dane show up on your doorstep with flowers and pizza? Is there anything tangible that you get out of this, or is it just for the lols?
Every so often I prompt Dane to pay us, but he always says it's lost in the mail. There are perks, I suppose, in a sense. For example, obviously moderators need to be able to join any server at any time, so we don't have ping limits put on us, and we can join an extra mod spot to get on a server and things like that.
I don't like doing that though, because people will realize that it's 13v12, and there's usually people that are trying to get in. And because of that, I'll tell people like that I know, if you're trying to get into the server, just let me know and I'll leave. Like I have a reserve slot, I can just leave and let you in, you know. So it's funny that you mentioned the Dane doorstep prizes. Roto, we talked about this like back when this first started. Um, let's back up a little bit. So when we first started the Uncle Topia server, how many years ago, our bans were set to last, like numbers wise, for about 9 years was like the maximum like syntax limit, I guess, of like Roto's ban program, like G bans. And
Yep.
it came to the realization that after like a couple of years and going on 4 years, it's like, okay, wait a minute. Some of these bans, like these supposedly perma bans, they might actually expire. And I brought this up, and Roto's like, if Uncle Topia is still around 9 years later, I'm going to buy you all unusuals. And so far, the camp that's true
Yeah.
is winning. So far, we're looking good for that. So Roto is gonna buy.
How many years now have you had?
I, when did we start this?
I think we're coming up on 4 years.
Yeah, it was like 2021. Yeah.
Huh. That's
So,
a pretty
yeah.
good odds.
Yeah, I really miss Uncle Topia is great, like having, I suppose, servers across like different continents and that. But I do miss those kind of unique, like one-off communities. Like I met most of my friends on an old pub server called Crit Sandwich Network, and it was around for like 8 years. And as with a lot of communities, died with the Meteor Match update, unfortunately. But I definitely do think you can kind of recapture some of that if you play like one particular Uncle Topia server regularly. You know, there's a lot of people play. I play Chicago one the most, and there's a lot of people play there, and you get to know each other, and it's kind of like that wee community space again.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Lou was talking about, or like DJ was talking about earlier, like the people who are like the regs usually play on like the one servers. So it's like if you play there for long enough, you'll see like the main cast of characters and whatnot. And, like kind of how Leah is the, and I will use the word here, tyrant of Chicago. One. You have a
Do you accept that
group.
description?
Sure.
You have a.
appreciate it. Yeah, go on.
Don't you have like a Steam group dedicated to opposing your tyrannical reign or something like that?
So it was a small group of people made that, yeah.
But no, much in the same way Leah's over in Chicago. I usually hang out in Seattle and whatnot. I'm kind of the sheriff of Seattle. But each region has its own little community with like, you know, memorable regulars, like funny people, and friend groups that have sprung up around that. You meet a lot of people like that.
Yeah, my mind is reaching back to all the time spent on Clan Vengeance servers and all the people I met there, including all of the regular hosts of KritzKast back in the day. Yeah, just things wouldn't have existed if community servers weren't a thing back in 2007, 2008. Lasai, such wonderful times. Hopefully one day they'll be back again.
Yeah, no, like we were talking for all this talk about nostalgia, like the idea that, you know, TF2 is the game as it is because of the people you meet. I still see that. I still see people that like they join, particularly within the Uncle Topia Discord too. Like I've seen people that are like total newcomers, like show up, they'll meet people. We have a channel for like missed connections, like to shout out people that you thought were really cool and whatnot. And that's the thing about TF2 is like you can get completely dumpsterized by like someone in a video game just owned 10-0 in MG or whatever, or 20-0 in MG, and then you'll be like, hey, like Pokemon, defeat me in friendship, you know? And you can like meet people.
Defeat means friendship.
Yes. Yes, no, some of my best friends, like the one of the people that taught me how to MGE was someone that absolutely whooped my ass in a TF2 game, and it's like I want to learn how to brag like you do. And I asked him, I'm like, hey, do you like how did you figure out how to get so good at this game? And he introduced me like what MGE was, and he kind of taught me how to MGE, and like that's what got me into comp and whatnot. So it's like this is one of those unique games where spaces like Uncle Topia can foster those things, and I think that's really cool. And that's the reason why I like help, you know, volunteer with this and like help keep it clean, is because that's what the game needs. Like that's the reward in itself, is like having spaces like that, you know.
Is it okay if we invite anyone else who wants to ask a question in to ask you guys questions now?
Sure, yeah. Big questions.
Okay, cool. Celine, if you want to like stick your hand up, I could probably just drag you in. If you're here, just drop a message in chat, say I'm here, and we'll drag you in. No mic. No, that's going to be difficult. I don't have one. Okay. Does anyone do a good Celine impression here?
I was gonna say, don't forget to do the voice.
Yeah. I can try and do the voice if you want.
Yeah,
This-
I think
this-
you should.
Yeah, okay. I have no idea what Celine sounds like, so this could be awkward. Just
Just go deeper with it.
just go deeper. Hello, I'm Celine. You gotta have fun. Okay, Celine, if you want to ask the question here, I'll forward it on to. I'll verbally forward it on to the crew. Okay, so my question: what did you guys do to New York One?
Man, I used to be a New York One regular. That's where I played when I started. New York One still exists though, right? It's just it was gone for a little while. They replaced it with Montreal, but people are afraid of Canada, so I think they brought back the New York servers.
Yeah,
Just double checking that they didn't die.
no, the New York servers are still there. Like a lot of the servers are still there.
They were gone for like a few months or something, but then they brought it back.
No, they're still there. It's still up.
Do you
Yeah,
have a,
there's like 4 actually, I think.
is there any kind of policy about where you choose to locate servers? Is it just sort of what's available to you, or do you specifically choose a location that you think is going to be like? Do people leave feedback saying where's New York or where's? I'm trying to think of other places that exist in North America. Where is Cincinnati one, or did you just at a whim, or is it whatever's cheap?
It depends on the host. Like, if the host has assets available in a region, obviously you would want a region that has like a reasonable population amount, like a media market, basically. But yeah, no, there are better network regions of the country, like Dallas and Chicago and whatnot, and having servers that are like multiple, I guess, in sublocations within a region. Like you can have the West Coast, you can have San Francisco versus Seattle and whatnot, and we found that we originally had like servers like that. We had like San Francisco, some servers that were sort of overlapping with each other in terms of player population, to where it would be easier to just make them all Seattle servers, right? It wasn't that big of
Yeah.
a ping difference, and the networking was better, you know?
Yeah, it's like a similar situation with like Atlanta and Miami. We had those servers, and really it was just better to have them in Atlanta, so they all got moved to Atlanta.
But there's no temptation towards just saying that everything is in different locations, even though they're all in the same Chicago data center.
People may notice. Actually, they recently replaced some of the Chicago servers. I don't know if Roto got a better provider or what, but I have 30 ping better, and people on the West Coast have 30 ping better, so it's just a good time all around. So someone was asking if they were secretly located somewhere else, but when we all figured out we had lower ping, that didn't really make sense.
Ah, okay, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, sometimes we do find a cheaper provider. Like there are different offerings. I distinctly remember, God, when the hell was that winter when like Texas froze over? Our host had a data center fire in like the Texas Dallas region, and we got sent a notification about that. Yeah, no, like it was that really bad winter where like everything froze in Texas, and because it's Texas and it never snows, nothing is
Oh,
winterized.
no aircon.
Yeah, and like because of that, the host suffered a data center fire, and that took some of our servers offline. So it's like, okay, maybe we ought to rethink this a little bit. But that was a while ago. We had that sorted out, but it was a funny experience, like from the server operator end.
It was surreal, I would imagine.
Yeah, Roto posted an update from the provider saying, "Oh, by the way, your Uncle Topia is literally on fire."
So, what haven't I asked you? I think is probably the best question that I've got on my list of things to ask you. What were you hoping that I would say, or what have you scripted up an amazing response to that I didn't actually ask you anything about?
If you could change one thing about the Uncle Dane servers, what would it be? I would ban Sniper. I'm kidding.
Oh
but-
my god, Kaiga.
Wow.
I'm a bad person to ask because my changes would be largely Sniper focused. But what would you like to do?
If I could change anything, years ago I would have said I would have turned on random crits because I love random crits. They're so much fun. Now I'm kind of used
so
to not
much right
having
now.
them though, so it's just like create funny moments. I think you should have like a way lower chance of having random crits. I still like them, but I don't want them to be
Oh,
as
you
constant
mean like
as.
random crits?
Yeah, well, they're also based on your like damage output, isn't that right?
Yeah,
Like the more damage
it
you
is.
have. So if it was like toned down a little bit, because they can create fun little moments, but they are also like they completely destroy the fairness of the game. So the other thing I was just gonna say was I really miss all talk servers. but I know Dane doesn't like all talk, so occasionally we can call a vote to
Yeah.
turn it on, but it's not to be used as regularly as I used it for a little while.
I remember
If you
that.
could hear, the
went back
chat
to-
on a thousand Dane server with all talk, what do you think the bots would be saying?
They'd be screaming,
Bye around here.
just constant screams.
Beep boop.
The funny thing about like playing Spy in the 1K Uncle servers is that like yeah, the bots do talk. Well, when you play Spy in the 1K Uncle servers, the bots are set to like maximum. They're set to like the highest, I guess, bot internal logic difficulty. And because of that, if you so much as bump an engineer or like jump on something or like pull out the snapper and put it on, like they'll react like a hive mind. It's really funny seeing like the seven. It's really fucking funny seeing like the 7 engineers that are directly around you just all go fire around here at once and then like start shooting at you. So the normal high risk high reward gameplay of Spy is cranked up to 11, and honestly someone should make a YouTube clip compilation of doing that because you are literally walking the line there. It's really funny playing Spy.
Actually, the funny thing is, if we go to like the Thousand Uncles video, Uncle Dane did one of the first clips of when he was just like first starting out the game mode is of us testing, and it's when I was playing Spy, and I guess they needed to reset the bots, so they killed all the bots, and I just went around and started sapping all the buildings, and I hear off in the distance all the engineers screaming Spy, and then like as they got closer, I just kept turning around like, oh god, oh god, oh god, and then I got shotgun like down, and they all just trample over me, yelling Spy.
You have alerted the horde. Yeah.
Wow.
It does.
Okay,
It does feel a little bit like Left 4 Dead, like the PVE aspect. The zombies could build sentries.
Yeah, I guess shoutouts have been called a couple of times during this, but if we want to sort of go through the group in alphabetical order, if you guys want to do any shoutouts, DJ, start with you.
So yeah, so I did mention before all this that there was going to be one sad part, and this is it. So biggest shout outs to Rocky42. If you know who he was, you know the kind of person that would like be most approachable, most like intoxicating kind of laughter, and he was one of the Uncle Topia, Uncle Dane Discord mods that unfortunately left us quite almost, God, how long has it been? Almost 3 years now.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's still days where we reminisce about our time with him, and we do deeply miss him.
He's the kind of guy that'd give you the shirt off his back, you know?
Yeah. Good people.
Mm-hmm.
Any happy shoutouts?
Yeah, no. The people who maintain the 1K Uncles program, Moonly Days, right? Roto, our tech guy, who's just been excellent with all the stuff around here. Yeah, some of the other people like that also host community servers, Oprah Special Stations, another great one. I think when I first announced that I was going on KritzKast, we were like, hey, who do you think should be Player of the Week? And some of my friends are like, yeah, you should nominate me. Shout out to Ren, Kari, and Epiphany, who have all nominated themselves for Checks Notes Playing Medic in a Pub.
Nice.
For Player of the Week.
Priority, yeah. Leah, who have you got for us?
I'll second shouting out Roto because he does like everything for Uncletopia. I'm gonna be a little selfish and shout out some of my personal connections. I mentioned the CSN pubs earlier. Shout out to those guys because that really built my fondness of TF2, and it's why I'm still around in the game. Shout out to Ham because he's my fiance and he's in the chat, and I might get shouted at if I don't. And shout out to Medred because I know he likes attention too.
Oh. So I think the other thing we need to do is ask how people get hold of you if you want to shield something you're working on, or any private or I want to say like Blue Sky accounts or anything. Does anyone want to like pick themselves up?
I guess we'll just go back in order again. So, if you want to get a hold of me, first off, good luck. I don't really tend to open up to like just total strangers, but if you do want to try to at least look for me. My username DJ Sylveon is usually the best place to start looking.
Yeah, no. My DMs are always open. If you need something related to the servers or any of the other projects, you can just let me know. I'm on Steam, on Discord, and Kaiga. There's a lot of people named Kaiga, but I'm the one with the community medals and whatnot. But anyway, yeah, you can always talk to me on Discord. I'm here if you guys need any help.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm Leah_Rain on pretty much everything. I have my DMs open as well. I stream on Twitch sometimes, and I post some stuff on YouTube.
For those of us who are listening only or audio only, Leah, how do you spell Leah Rain?
Oh, LIA_REIN. Thanks for that, aggro.
Yeah, no worries. I've been here like so many times, even today, trying to find you on social networks, going, "How do you spell Leah again?" Yeah. While I'm here, I'm going to give a quick shout out to Gamer Subs, sponsor of, amongst other things, the pod. If you want to get yourself a bit of an energy pick me up, which is always generally where I feel after doing one of these pods, head over to gamersubs.gg/KritzKast. KritzKast. And just let them know that we sent you, and you get like a 10% discount off for your entire purchase. Right, that's enough from me, and probably enough from you guys. Thank you very much for being in, for responding, for being dragged in, and being a willing and I want to describe a word, vivacious. No, that can't be it. Active, alive, being an alive guest. All three of you were generally alive guests, so thank you very much for that.
Yeah, thanks for having us. It was fun.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, what about
since I don't have a soundboard? Yeah, I don't have a soundboard anymore, so I'm just going to ask Kaiga, can you play the outro tune for us as we sign off?
Da da da, game over, yeah.